Welcome everybody. Welcome to one of the best workshops that we have here at the Living Arthur Information Fair today. It's going to be wonderful. Please, everybody, mute yourself. The questions and answers is going to be after the presenter finish, and she's going to let you know. You're going to be able to do it in the chat room, or if not, then just raise the hand on the little screen on the Zoom, and then we will take your questions. All right. Now, let me tell you something. All these workshops have been great today. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell everybody. You can come back and see it. Also, we have the exhibit hall where you can come and take it out. All the information that you hear today is going to be there. So having said that, let me introduce you to our next presenter. It's Nia Buckley with Weichert Realtors. She's going to be talking about buying your first condominium, what you must know when buying a condominium. And this is something that I've been telling people is you're going to start buying a house and people say it's too expensive in Arlington. Start somewhere. Buy a condominium. Here, the properties go in, build equity fast. Then you move in a couple of years and sell that, get into a townhouse, and then you can go in the house in your dreams. So please, Nia, take it away, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jorge, and thank you for everybody who put the fair together again. This is, I think we've been participating since the beginning. It's always fantastic to be a part of it, and also to be able to present a class here and to quote unquote this year see everybody, at least virtually. So again, with our show today, with our presentation today, it is buying your first condo, which shouldn't be scary. A little bit of Halloween theme going on today. This is my little Halloween hat, so we'll take it away from there. So a condo, for those of you who don't know, is different than a single family home. It's a shared piece of property with individual owners of each unit or condo. It offers a lot of services, amenities, less maintenance. So, you know, we do have some who have been downsizing to condos because they're tired of mowing the lawn and shoveling the driveway and putting things out. And also, when you're in a condo, there is a neat little lifestyle of community living. It's almost like your very concentrated neighborhood. There are rules, association fees, and a management company involved. So it's important, if you are looking at the potential of buying a condo, you understand what makes it different than if you buy a single family home. So as I was saying, do your research, and very, very, very important to work with a good real estate agent. We'll talk about the status of our market here in Arlington and really in the surrounding area. You really do have to have somebody who knows what they're doing to help you. And yes, there are actually some successful sales happening even as we speak. So you need to know in advance what the condo includes. And sometimes, for instance, we have a condo listed right now. It's a 3-bedroom. It's down along 4-mile run. And the condo fee is about $1,200 because of all the amenities. So you need to know exactly what's included. You need to know what the association fees are and what they're for. And when you go to buy a condo, you actually have the right to review all the condo rules and documents and things. And if you don't agree with them at that point, you can certainly void your contract. So, but this way, you know, you want to know what the rules are and that you're okay with them. And you also want to know about any special assessments. So might there be something coming up where they have to replace the windows, or is there something else going on, you know, that everyone who owns a unit would have to be responsible for in some part financially. You need to research the maintenance and the management company. Are they easy to work with? Have you seen things online? Do you know folks who live there? Is it like everybody is okay with everything? And you need to obtain financing. And on that note, we're very, it's really great today that we have our senior mortgage advisor with us. Don Metcalf has been doing mortgages for probably 20 some years. He specializes also in first time home buyers. So he's a fantastic person to have on the conversation with us today. So take it away, Don, and I'll advance your slides for you.
Thanks, Nia. Hi to everybody that's coming into the meeting today. It's nice to meet you as it is like this. So the first thing you want to do when looking at or considering buying a condo is figuring out what your buying power is. You want to know what price range you can be in, what type of monthly payment you're going to be comfortable with. I like to explain to folks that there's two numbers out there and two different things. One is what you qualify for, and one is what you can afford. And your lender will tell you what you can qualify for, but only you can decide what you can afford. So you have to work out a budget and hopefully come up with a monthly payment that you'll be comfortable with. And one of the best ways to do that is to meet with a local qualified mortgage advisor. Right now, of course, face-to-face can be a little bit more difficult with the COVID, but it's something we still offer as long as we do it safely. We could do a Zoom meeting, but phone works great a lot of times for this type of interaction. Most of the time, a mortgage lender can make a credit decision pretty much on the spot, unless there's something unusual going on. You're going to look at income and debts and credit score, available cash to close to see what you can qualify for. And there are just many products out there to meet different needs. We don't offer just one product. Lenders have many, and it depends upon which one's going to be better for you and your situation. A reputable lender, for them, they do not have any reason to put you in one type of mortgage over another type of mortgage, because no matter if you get an FHA, a VA, conventional loan, the mortgage loan officer is going to be paid the exact same amount with your reputable lenders. So they're always going to be looking out for your best interest, because there's no reason not to. I happen to work for Mortgage Access Corporations. We are one of the top 100 credible and safe mortgage providers in the United States. So I work with Mortgage Mortgage Access, and we can provide these services for you as well. Ready, Nia?
Oh, sorry.
So the next graph here, this just gives a simple idea, scale of interest rates. And right now, as you know, we're in a very, very low interest rate environment. And you can see, what does $2,000 a month buy? Now, the $2,000 a month is actually a principal and interest number, but you can see as the rate goes up to the right, the amount that you can purchase for that amount of money goes down dramatically. So the difference between 4 and 6%, say a 2% difference, it's over $100,000 difference in buying power. And right now, we're really down closer to the 3s, 3.25. Interest rate is determined by your credit score and such like that. So this is something we look at, but now could be a good time to buy because rates are just absolutely fantastic. There's just no doubt about that. And the next graph actually is showing where rates have been. And this is going back just really to last November. I mean, just basically the year, and you can see rates have fallen. The blue line is the one most folks are looking at right now, is a 30-year fixed mortgage, very, very safe mortgage. Your rate never changes. Your principal and interest payment would never change over the life of the loan. Taxes, insurance may change a little bit, but your principal just stay the same. And it's actually at its lowest, 2.8%. That's with about a half a point. And condos generally have a slightly higher interest rate, or just a little bit more in points. So you might say the condo might be 3.25 or something like that. And that's just a risk-based program on that, just because the condos are considered slightly higher risk for the lender, for the investors. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do charge a slight premium for a condo. However, if you go with an FHA loan or VA loan, they don't. And we'll talk a little bit about those loan types in just a little bit. The next graph is talking about how much you pay if you wait. So right now we're using an example here of a home price of $350,000, down payment of 20%, loan amount of $280, and an interest rate of 2.99, and your payment is $1178. If the rate goes up just 1% to 3.99, which is still historically an incredibly great rate in itself, your payment would go up to $1,335, which makes about a $156 difference a month, or a $56,000 difference over the life of the loan. And we put 20% down here because it makes things a little bit easier number-wise because of mortgage insurance and things like that. We don't have to take into play. But please don't feel that any stretch of imagination you have to put down 20%. And again, we'll talk about some programs, but we can put down as little as 0 or 3%, 0% down, 3.5. There's certainly options, which we'll start talking about in the next slide. So one of the most popular options is a Fannie Mae loan or Freddie Mac. That is basically the same thing. They have a minimum required down payment of only 3%, which is very nice. The entire down payment and closing costs can be a gift from a family member, somebody very, very close to you. The funds can come from that. Of course, it can also come from your own savings. These are excellent loans. Again, they're fixed loans, so you don't have to worry about your payment changing over the life of them. You do not have to have perfect credit by any stretch of the imagination. You have to have good credit, but not great credit. The next program would be FHA. It requires a 3.5% down payment. Again, all of which can be a gift. Sellers can contribute up to 3%, or actually up to 6%, but realistically 3% is probably the most you get in our area. And the Fannie Mae also allows seller contribution as well. The difference between these two programs primarily is if you have stronger credit, then the Fannie Mae is going to work out better for you. If your credit may be a little bit weaker, then the FHA may work out for you. And again, as I mentioned before, the mortgage company is going to put you in the best one for you because they shouldn't care about which one you go into. To them, it should be all exactly the same. But two very good programs. Kind of rule of thumb is if you're above a 700 score, Fannie Mae is typically going to be better. And if you're below a 700 score, FHA is typically going to be better. And here, the next slide starts talking about that a little more specifically. FHA products, perfect credit not required. A borrower's relative may provide low down payment or even the entire down payment. It can be a gift. There are some little rules for FHA that make that more conducive to use. They'll generally let you borrow more money versus your income than a conventional loan. And again, they're much more forgiving on poor credit. You won't have the increase in rate if your credit score is lower. So that is a product that's been around for, I don't know, 60, 80 years now. So it's an excellent product. The next one, back to the conventional, up to 97% is offered by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It is for first-time home buyers only. But the interesting thing is the definition of a first-time home buyer is somebody who has not owned a home for the past 3 years. So for instance, I just closed on a loan yesterday. A lady bought a condo, and she 5 years ago sold a home out in Kansas, and she bought one here. And we were able to put her into a first-time home buyer program because she had not owned a home for the past 3 years. So that's a nice feature. So when you see first-time home buyer, you could actually have owned a house in the past. That's allowed. This also does allow funds to come from family members and such like that. And on the 3% down, we can go up to a loan about $450 some odd dollars there. So it's a nice high amount. Once you get above that limit, above the 450 up to about 765, you still only have to put 5% down. So it's flipped from a 97% loan to value to a 95%, which means you have to put down 5%, which is very good. And the next one is a USDA product. This is something that really doesn't apply so much in the Arlington area, but if you have to be looking farther out, you probably got to get out to like Leesburg or Warrenton or such like that. There is some products actually through the United States Department of Agriculture that have as little as 0 down on them. So I won't spend much time with that, but it's a very, very interesting product that's out there. So if you are going to move out, it may be. And then VA loans. VA loans right now are an excellent loan to get if you are an active duty service member or if you served in the military in the past. then these loans can be great. Generally, almost everybody would be eligible for them. They require no money down. The seller can pay up to a 4% concession, which could cover all of your prepaid items and closing costs, funding fees, and such like that. Again, gifts are allowed. The credit score is very flexible with a VA loan. If a person has a service-related disability, the VA loan's equivalent of mortgage insurance is waived for that person. Or right now, if they're active duty, which they would not have a disability, but have been a Purple Heart recipient, they also have the funding fee waived for them. So VA loans are just excellent loans because the rate is very, very competitive. The underwriting, there's quite a bit of flexibility with that also. So those are 4 very popular loans right there. Now we do have some down payment assistance loans. This is a program that's been around since 2016. For the grant, it truly is money that's just given to you that you don't have to repay. There are some income limits on it, but in our area, it's quite generous. I don't have the exact number in front of me because they do change it. But for a 1 to 2 person household, I believe it's up to about $100,000. And if it's a 3-person household, it's up to something like $126,000. So it's still a very, very strong income that a family can have and still qualify for this. It is the grant itself is actually 2% grant. There are some cases they could go up to 2.5, but it's typically 2, to a maximum of $8,000. And the maximum home sale price you can purchase in this program is about $510,000. But that's a lot. That's a pretty high amount also. And the borrower does have to have 1% of the funds for the transaction. And the borrowers may be eligible for an MCC, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, but that's a mortgage credit certificate. It says minimum LTV of 95, and that kind of depends upon which program you use. Sometimes we can put you into an FHA or a conventional. It's just, again, going to see what is working best for you. And as I mentioned, that money is just given to you and there is no requirement that it be paid back. It's a great, great program. We're very, very fortunate in Virginia to have the VHDA program. It's not a government program. They totally support themselves. They are essentially a mortgage company that does not have any loan officers. So mortgage companies that have signed up with VHDA, like our company has, are their marketing arm, but they provide the money and they actually make a profit. And all of those profits they turn back into offering very competitive rates. Their rates are a little bit higher for a while, but very competitive. And that's where the money for the grants and such come from, is this agency that's just well run. It's one of the best run in the United States, quite frankly. So real quickly, just a mortgage credit certificate it's a way that you can get additional funds to be tax deductible. And I won't spend much time talking about it right now, but really go to YouTube and just put in their VHDA space MCC, or you can use this link there, and they have this cute little 3-minute video that really is an excellent explanation of the MCC. But as you may know, mortgage interest is tax deductible typically for most people, but up to a certain degree. The MCC gives you additional tax deductibility that as long as you don't refinance out of the loan or sell that home, you will have that tax credit for the rest of your life until you separate yourself from the home. So again, it's another great program there. And VHDA also has some 100% financing, 0 down payment, and this is done through the plan called VHDA Plus. In this case, you're not getting the grant. You're not getting the grant. You are getting a second trust loan that you do have to pay back, but the interest rate is the same as a first trust, so it's very, very low. It's spread over 30 years, so it makes it an excellent product there. And for that, the income limits are much higher. I think for a family of three, it's up to something like $160,000, which is high. And then for a family of two, it's around 125, $28,000. So again, these are not low income programs by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, two people with a family income of 100 and say 15,000, that's pretty good to me. You can do have some pretty good purchasing power with that. And Arlington specifically has its own set of programs. And I'm just going to kind of throw these out because each one of these could be an hour-long seminar for each. But just to know that they're out there, we have things called affordable dwelling units, moderate income purchase assistance programs, VHDA community homeownership revitalization program. That is a program that Arlington partners together with VHDA, and a Live Near Your Work program, which is for government employees only. So not only does Virginia have some really great programs through VHDA, Arlington even takes another step. And I would say, in my opinion, Arlington in the area also has one of the best first-time homebuyer programs compared to, say, Fairfax or Alexandria, Prince William, and such like that. They all have some stuff, but Arlington's, I think, is pretty much the most accessible out there. So how can you work towards getting a house? Well, parents may want to try and help their children purchase a home. It can be a great step forward, as you know from everything you read right now, and it's more in the news, that home ownership is one of the best ways to build wealth over your life. It's also a great way to bring security and stability to your family and to the neighborhoods that you're living in. So what can parents do? Well, parents can give gifts where they just give an outright gift. They can do a loan. I will have to say that the parent will have to sign a form that it's a gift and that the parent does not expect or cannot demand that loan back. But as I tell folks that we have to have that, but if you choose not to pay back your parents, they can stop inviting you over for Thanksgiving or whatever, but they can't try to take the house from you. So that they just have to sign a form that says they will not try to take your house to get their money back. They also can co-sign a loan for you. So if you are buying a home and maybe the payments are just a little bit out of your reach, or you just can't qualify for some reason, you can use a parent as what's called a non-occupant co-borrower. And they are basically going to co-sign the loan for you. They're not required to live in the house. And that can definitely be a leg up. One thing that getting a co-signer will not help is credit situations. So if you have credit that's not strong enough to obtain financing, getting a co-signer will not help. But if you do have issues with your credit, one of the things our company does is partner with an outside service. We don't have any formal connection, but they do a very good job of helping folks get their credit scores up, and through advice and help. And that's something we can connect you with. Of course, I've been doing this, as Nia said, I've actually been doing it for about 27 years. I have a lot of experience with looking at credit reports and making some recommendations. And I would say if you're kind of stuck on what to do, or your credit's not where you think it should be, come and ask. We can look at your credit and go through some things. And interestingly enough, some things you think might help your credit can actually hurt your credit, and some things that hurt, you think you're going to hurt it, could actually help it. Sometimes it's not intuitive. So always let us help you with that, and we're glad to do it. I've worked with people 2 or 3 years to get their credit score up, and to show income that we need to show. Another way parents can help too is equity sharing. So they co-sign for you, and maybe you make an agreement with them that you're going to share the equity. Maybe they co-sign a loan for you and give you a gift for a certain amount of dollars as a down payment, and then you just go into agreement that you're going to share the equity with your parents over the years. That can be a great way. It can be a good way for them to build up their assets and retirement someday, and also help you as well. And these are all things, again, probably could do an hour-long seminar on how parents could help. But we just want to kind of touch on these things right now, and know that I'm always available again to meet face to face or by the phone or whatever is for you. A little bit about gifts. The gift is very, very simple. We don't make it complicated. There's a simple form they sign out. A lot of people have a misconception that if the parent gives a gift of over $11,000 or $14,000 or whatever the number is, that there's a tax ramification. Typically there are not. We always have to say, talk to your accountant because they're the professionals. But the way it works typically is, unless your parents are leaving an estate of, I think it's like $10 million or more, then giving a gift would never have any implication onto their taxes. And again, there are low down payment options, and pretty much in every program we have, that can be a gift. The only loan program you really cannot get a gift for is an investment property. So if you're buying an investment property, it does have to be all of your money, or the co-signer with you who's on the loan. That person has to be on the loan. But this is not really about an investment seminar, so we really wouldn't have to worry about that. So for the next one here, loans, you're just generally borrowing money for, well, oh, I'm sorry, I misread this. Yeah. So you can't actually borrow the money for a mortgage transaction unless it's secured by an asset. So what I've actually done in the past is, if somebody had a car, maybe they own free and clear, and it was new enough to get a loan at, they could literally take a loan against their car. But you can't go get a signature loan or make an advance on a credit card to use that money. The money has to be secured. You can also use a 401k or retirement plan. You can either disperse from those or actually take a loan against those. Most of the time, if you can, we recommend that you take a loan against the retirement plan because there's some tax advantages to that. But yeah, you can't go out and borrow the money. That's why I said it has to be a gift typically. And all funds for closing do need to be verifiable. So if you are a person that has a habit of keeping several thousands of dollars in cash, that's fine, no judgment. However, you want to make sure you have that. If you want to use that money for down payment or closing costs, make sure that money is in the bank in an account at least 90 days before you're going to be buying a house, because we do have to verify all the money, and that's very, very important to a lender, that those funds be verified. It's to do with money laundering, and really one of the things we're wanting to see is, okay, this lump of sum money just came into your checking or savings account. Was that a loan? And if it was a loan, we have to verify if it's an acceptable loan. And if it was acceptable, then we had to verify what the monthly payment is on that loan, because that would go into the equation that we use to figure out what you can qualify for. And I will say just one little thing about qualification is, although when you talk to a lender, they're going to generally come up with a number that says we can pre-qualify you, let's say for 300,000 or 400,000 or whatever the number is. Condos are just a little bit of a wild card when it comes to approvals, because you can have condos with homeowners association fees of $170, $80 a month. It's not unusual to see in our area, and maybe almost even typical, some $400 to $500 a month as association fee, and you can get some high-end places that $1,000, $1,500 a month in association fee. So we actually approve a person on their monthly payment, and the payment versus what their monthly income is, and we want to stay within what are called ratios. Typically, your total monthly debt needs to be between 40, no more than 45, maybe 50% of your gross monthly income. And that homeowners association fee on a condo can make a big difference. So what we always recommend is, especially if you're gonna look for condos, get pre-approved first, get in the system. That way, before you even go look at a condo, let's say your realtor sends you a listing, you can go ahead and send it to the lender. I do this for my folks all the time. I will put together a nice little spreadsheet, send it back to you, make sure, one, you'll qualify for it, and then two, make sure you can afford it, which is the most important thing, that you can afford, not just that we say you can qualify for. And then even before you spend any time making a trip to see that condo, you'll know, here's what my cash to close is, and here's what my monthly payment is, and do I have um, a comfort level with that? And that's certainly, again, your reputable lender is going to provide that for you. Um, will gladly do that. So I think that pretty much wraps up the
Well,
portion.
Don, thank you. And I know that folks will probably have questions for him. We'll take all the questions at the end. So
Yeah.
I know that many of us have our own preconceived notions about how the real estate market actually is. I was out on my walk the other day, and one of the neighbors that I know I'm in Virginia Square. I was walking over to Ballston. One of my neighbors stopped me and said, "Hey, is the market really as good as they say it is?" And I said, "Oh, yes, it really is." So I know you can't see most of this, but Arlington Economic Development puts out sort of the status of Arlington and what makes it such a wonderful place to live. And we are top rated in so many things. This is the most current list that I've been able to pull off of AED. So in other words, we're ranked #1 top digital county. We were also, I don't know if you know, but there was a Jeopardy question, I guess a couple weeks ago. What's the smallest county in America that is self-governing? Guess what? It's Arlington. So many of us view Arlington as, well, it is a little expensive to live here, but it is also a fantastic place to live. And of course, we also service not just Arlington with our Arlington office, but all of the area. And then of course, many of us are licensed in other jurisdictions because of course, we're so close to them. So I wanted to also point out there was a lot of buzz in the market when Amazon came in, and still is. So there was an Amazon effect that came in, not to just the Arlington market, but really to the entire DMV. So and really the Amazon effect, and we'll talk about that in a second, that was a really big thing, and a lot of, it really made phones ring off the hook for real estate agents. So if you're interested in finding out what Amazon is up to, how much they will expand, what they will be doing, how they're headquartered, what they're developing here in Arlington, I would direct you to the county's website. You can certainly pull up and see where they're at, where they're developing, what their, where their headquarters are and how that is coming along. So it's a very transparent and great opportunity to see it. However, if you look back at our market now, and for anybody who is thinking about, oh, gee, I just can't get into the market, I'm never going to be able to afford it, I just, no, wrong. Today, while we're sitting here doing this, there are agents from not just our company, but companies all over the area who are taking buyers out. They've already talked to people like Don. They figured out what they can afford, and they're taking them out and looking at listings. Now, unfortunately, listings, meaning homes that are available to purchase, after the Amazon announcement, really before it, but especially after the Amazon announcement and before the pandemic, we experienced low inventory, meaning that we didn't have as many houses out there to sell as perhaps we've had in the past. There are some reasons for this. One reason is that people tend to be staying in their homes longer than they have in the past. So for instance, the boomer generation, some of them have taken their kids in, some of them have taken their parents in. Another thing is, they had been in their house so long they didn't have a mortgage. They were not necessarily looking forward, even with lower interest rates, of picking up another mortgage. Then they were thinking, okay, if I sell my house, where do I go? And then last but not least, in my opinion, the HGTV effect, where love it or list it, the original reason that you bought your house, all of a sudden somebody does all that renovation and everything for you, or you do it yourself, and all of a sudden you decide, oh, I'm going to stay. So we have seen that. It's really been happening over probably like the last 5 years or so. Prices in most popular price ranges are going up. So in other words, if you're in the lower end of the price spectrum in Arlington, I would say anything up to 900,000. And for some of you who might be a first-time buyer, like, oh, 900,000. So don't worry about that. Again, there are people who are qualifying for much less who are buying every day. But in those price ranges, with the challenging inventory, the price ranges have been going up, which is a good thing in one way, because you do want to see that your investment is going to provide equity for you. In other words, it's going to earn money for you. before the pandemic and after Amazon, we had very low interest rates, and we had a lot more investors, meaning that you as a buyer then had even more competition for what was a limited amount of homes to buy. So the biggest takeaway here is you need to be prepared, and you need to be working with a professional real estate agent, somebody who can really guide you through the process so that you get through successfully. All right, so the pandemic comes, then what? So first of all, real estate did change a bit. We had been doing a lot of real estate virtually before that, but even more so in the process of the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, yes, things were a little slower. However, not as slow as one might think. And in fact, people were still buying and selling. People who were in the midst of buying, National Association of Realtors quickly at the very beginning of the pandemic with shutdowns, basically lobbied and was able to get real estate deemed as essential services, which if you were in the process of moving, probably was a very welcome thing for you. Otherwise, you could have been badly stuck in that situation. So there are virtual showings out there. You can list your property, and there's all sorts of ads and property boosting and social media that we do. Our agents record like a walkthrough through the neighborhood, just so folks online, if they're not familiar with the neighborhood, can see sort of the amenities or what it's close to, or is there a dog park. Interactive digital brochures now, virtual buyer consultations, and you really want to have a virtual, or you want to have a buyer consultation, virtual or otherwise, with your real estate agent before you start going out and looking. Part of what we're doing here today is in some part a little bit of a buyer consultation, but it won't take that long, but it just prepares you in the best way of what to expect. You don't want any bad surprises. You want to know what you're getting into. And when you're working with a professional, you're going to better understand it. And one note too, when you go to put in an offer on something, especially if you're competing with other buyers, who you have as a lender is going to become very important. So for instance, we helped somebody last week buy something where there were 18 offers. The price went way up, it escalated. And the reality is the agent who represents the seller helps sort through those offers for the seller. The seller ultimately makes the determination. However, the very good agent who has seen some of these lenders, and so for yourself, when you choose a lender, make sure that you understand if your lender isn't available around here. In other words, if you're looking online, A, make sure you've read the fine print, and B, make sure they're available Saturday night at 10 o'clock, because some things happen then that you actually need your lender to help you with. And if you don't have that, or if you don't have a quote unquote name lender, your offer might not be perceived as good as something else. We offer virtual open houses, although more recently, and even during the pandemic, there were live open houses going on. There's, people go in with masks. The agents sometimes stay outside. It really depends. All the safety precautions are being followed and are posted online for folks who visit. Live virtual buyer events. This is one of them today. Property websites with a live chat, e-postcards, virtual listing presentations. So yes, a lot of stuff went virtual that had been live before. However, we are seeing, depending on how everybody wants to do it, we do see live open houses, we do see live settlements, we do see live walkthroughs, we do see live appraisals, we do see live, home inspections. So it really depends on the circumstances and where everyone's comfort is. At the end of the day, the real estate agent is going to follow, a good one is going to follow all the safety protocol, and also, represent you to the best ability so that, you get successfully into the place that you want. So during the pandemic, what's changed? Well, limited inventory still. Prices in most popular price ranges going up. So if you're thinking, I'm going to wait like 2 years, we know the prices are going to go down. Not really sure about that. We don't have a crystal ball, but what experts are telling us is that the current market that we have is probably going to be with us for the next couple of years. Now, one thing has changed. The interest rates are unbelievably low. We've said that they've been low for the last couple of years. You saw Don's slide earlier. They're under 3%. When I started in the business, they were about 12 to 13%. The agents who had been in the business before me said they were 18, 19%. When I bought my little row house here in Arlington, I was in the 6%. I never thought I would get anything less. Then I finally got it under 4. That was a few years ago. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'd never be able to do better. And now Don is overseeing my refinancing, and I'll have it under 3. Unbelievable. So that puts more folks out there. And again, your buying power is bigger, the lower the interest rate. Industry experts are predicting that we could see these interest rates tack up a little bit. And Don pointed out what happens as they get higher, your buying power goes lower. You are facing still more investors. So again, at the end of the day, your best deal is to just make sure that you work with somebody who really knows what they're doing and listen to them. So it's a very competitive market. You need to be prepared to compete. So home buying in a competitive market is not a DIY, do-it-yourself project. No, you really need somebody who's going to help you. There's a process that you go through. Your agent will explain that to you. You don't want any surprises. And I do want to mention too, there are, when you see a home, no home is perfect. When you go on a home inspection, expect there's going to be something, some little thing there. If it's major, then you have your options. Should I ask for it to be repaired? Should I get out of this? Whatever. But even if you go to brand new construction, you find that there is something wrong. So don't ever expect that you're going to walk into an absolutely 100% perfect home. They don't exist. But normally the things that come up are things that can be addressed. A good agent will use the multiple listing service to show you homes or arrange a showing to match your criteria. They explain in what's involved. They will tell you what is necessary in making an offer. Now, they recommend the price. They give you ideas and they show you the market data so that you can put in the proper price. You make the price determination, but you should listen to your agent. They're a resource for all your real estate needs. They keep you informed of available homes that meet your criteria. They have access to all the listings and they set up appointments to view homes. They also negotiate your offer in person oftentimes, or will ask if they can do that. And the benefit of that, so for instance, last week when we were in a situation with 18 competing offers, well, 17 competing offers because there were 18 total, we offered with the listing agent and the strength of our offer, and also talking back and forth and knowing the listing, it helps. It definitely helps. Also, Don's in a position where if we have been working on your loan, he can call the listing agent and say, this person is well qualified, et cetera, when you're competing. So making sure that you understand the strength of your lender is important. We always negotiate all the terms of the offer in your best interest. We have a tool that we can prepare for you so that we don't have a crystal ball, but we can try to tell you what we think something is worth or could be worth in the future so that you know. We also have all under one roof, where not only do we have Don, who can do the mortgage, we work with a title company. You will need title insurance. You will probably need homeowners insurance. And, so we have a lot of services. So that was a very quick overview of buying a condo. So I think at this point we're ready for questions, and I'm going to rely on the staff that is helping us today and doing such a great job, because we are offering a $25 Amazon gift card there's just a nice little drawing at the end of this, so it's not a trick or treat, it's actually a treat. So can we open this up for questions?
Yes, we can. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and make sure that after you ask your question to mute yourself back. We can definitely have that function to mute you, but also you can submit your questions in the chat box using the chat functions, and we can read those back to Nia or Don. So with that, I leave the floor open to questions.
Questions, anybody? Don't be shy. We've got experts on the meeting here with you. So any questions?
I'll start. This is Jorge.
Oh, hey, Jorge.
What is the cheapest condominium price I can buy in Arlington?
Oh, well, let me see. We've seen things including, you know, where we have co-ops. They're actually co-ops. I want to say probably in just under 200,000. And again, now you have to look to see what the monthly fees are, what's included. You know, a lot of times you're going to find that some of the condos that might not sit right on top of a metro, might not be the fanciest or whatever, but they have a lower fee, are actually kind of neat because they might be on a, you know, one-stop bus that goes to wherever you need to go to. And again, right now you might be working from home, down the road you might not be. So no, so it starts that low. So I think I saw, Jorge, hopefully that answers your question. I think I saw what's a reasonable condo fee. Well, I think, and Tina, I think you asked that question. So a reasonable condo fee is just really looking to see, these are usually based on the amenities. And this is where you kind of have to ask your own questions. Are you going to use the gym? Now, in a lot of cases right now, the gyms that are part of the condos are, I'm sorry?
I was like, really, we can bring a coat just or a pair of pants just in case.
Okay. So at any rate, so the answer there is, you know, sometimes they offer pools and tennis courts and dog washing stations, and you kind of have to determine what things really, they may sound sexy to you at the time, but they, but you know, will you really use them? Most of the time, I don't ever really remember seeing a condo fee that is so outrageous. Now, a lot of times there might be assessments because there have to be windows done or roofs replaced or something like that. But that's the benefit of when you write an offer, you are legally allowed to see, review, and reject, if you don't like them, the condo docs and the rules, and ask questions and things like that. So Tina, I hope that answers your question. And again, your agent would really be the one to you know, work with in when you're interested in something. Okay. There was a question I thought I saw. It was a Don question about married. I didn't really see the whole question. Let me look at the chat. Let's look here. Let's look at the chat. So it's from Ace. Are mortgage rates lower for married couples, and does the length of marriage matter?
So to answer that, no, there is not any rate difference for married people per se. However, interestingly enough, if you do have mortgage insurance, you're not putting down a full 20%, which most everybody gets mortgage insurance because not putting down 20%. If you have two people on the loan, whether they're married or not married, it doesn't matter. The mortgage insurance is actually a little bit lower. They do take in the mortgage insurance premium, which does affect your monthly payment, but it doesn't affect the rate directly. But but again, it's more than one person. I guess they feel it's more secure, but there's no requirement that the person's married. None of our loans except for VA have a requirement that if you have more than one person on the loan, that they have to be married. I mean, two friends could buy a place together, a mother and child could buy a place together. It just doesn't matter, except for VA. Both people, they either had to be married or both people had to have VA eligibility.
And let's see here. So Lynn is asking, how can you find out about an impending special assessment that is being considered but not yet disclosed in the condo docs? We generally ask. It's best to just, you know, work with your agent and ask about these things. You know, generally speaking, the condo board and things like that is pretty well documented on their end if they've been talking about, oh, gee, we need to be thinking about the roof or the windows or things like that. So generally we ask. And do we do a termite inspection for a condo? You know, you kind of, you kind of have to see if you would do one or not. I haven't seen them a lot in the condos that, we've done. Again, that would be up to you, but generally speaking, we've not seen them so much in condos. Now again, if your condo is on the ground floor and you've got a lot of trees outside, you may want to consider it. I would say that would be a case by case basis, but generally speaking, we haven't seen that a lot for a condo. Any other questions? Again, thank you. Great questions in the chat over here. Should I, and I'll leave this to Renee or Jorge, should I just be making little blank pieces of paper with people's names on them and then just do a drawing for the gift card? Is that how you want me to do it? I've got some paper here and I can, let's see, I can put Lynn. I can put Tina. Let's see. I can put Ace. I could put Menyon. And I think that's it of the folks who are still left. So I'm very carefully.
What about Sadia?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sadia. Thank you. Oh, wait, see, oh, wait a minute. I see. Oh, I see. Wait a minute. You know what? I'm just looking at her chat. Let's put Sadia.
Yes.
Let's also put Martha. I see we got a Martha there. We got a Marjorie, a Rolf, a Claire. Hold on, let me get them all. Any other questions while Nia is writing up names here? Brian. Let's see here. We got Ace, Marjorie, Eric. Hold on. Thought it was appropriate, the Amazon gift card. Amazon is right in the backyard here now. I see we got Paula, Claire, Rolf.
So can I interrupt you, ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm interested, but I think so. I'm working out my student loan paying soon. Yes. So basically my credit card is like, the score is less than 600. So basically how long, I'm working on to finish all the debt. So how long is it gonna take me? Just like 6 months, I have to wait more or less to credit score, because I'm less than 600 right now.
Yeah, I'm going to let Don answer that, and I admire the fact that you are trying to work that down. And really for anybody on this session, the reality is, even if you don't qualify today, if you talk to a professional like Don, he can give you the steps. As he mentioned before, he was working with somebody recently that took them 3 years to get everything in order, but they've been able to move forward. So Don.
Yeah, so that's a good question. It kind of depends upon what's causing your credit score to be lower like that. So if it's because of the amount of credit you have, let's say you have a couple credit cards with maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 balance, let's say $3,000 or a limit rather, and your balance is right up at 2,900 or right at the 3,000, you're using up all of your available credit, you're kind of maxed out. Once you pay those credit cards down to maybe 30% of the allowable limit, so you get your $3,000 limit credit card down to maybe $900, you're going to see your credit score jump very quickly, because that's a big piece of the utilization of your credit to what your score can be. And it can jump. I just had somebody pay down a couple of credit cards, and his score jumped 19 points, which was nice. Just snap of the finger. Now, if you've had late pays and collections and such like that, that can take longer. They've kind of got to get farther in the rear view mirror. So it just kind of depends upon everybody's situation. Again, we're glad to go over that stuff with you, and look at the credit and see what we can do for you. I kind of describe a credit problem is being like a cut or a wound, that if you cut yourself, you cut your arm, let's say, if you do nothing, eventually it will heal, right? Now, if you pick at it and let it stay dirty and don't take care of it, it will also heal, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to be pretty ugly getting there. But if you keep it clean, take care of it, everything like that, it's going to heal. It's going to heal quicker. Now, it's still going to take time to heal. You don't cut yourself and then the next day, no matter what you do, it's not going to be completely healed. So it can just take time, especially if you've had late payments, collections, judgments, and such like that. But if it's really just a matter of your credit cards being maxed out and such like that, as soon as you can get those credit cards down to say 30% utilization, that's good. Now, one of the tricks is you pay off a credit card, don't close it. You want to keep that card open because they also look at your aggregate amount of available credit. So if somebody has 5 credit cards at $4,000 limit each, and they owe $1,000 on one, they're probably on each rather, they're probably going to have pretty good credit. If they close all but one, and now they have 4,000 owed on the one card and everything else is closed, their credit score is going to go down really fast. So keep your credit cards open even when you pay them off. Maybe just put a little bit of gasoline on it, a little trip to the grocery store just to keep them active, and that will help you. But that's one of those things that's weird that people think, oh, if I close it, it's going to help me. It's probably going to hurt you. But again, I'll be more than glad to talk to anybody on a one-on-one basis, actually looking at your credit and your situation.
Well, I'll get your number, then I will contact you.
That'll be fine.
I also want to mention too, when just say Don gives you a number that you can go shopping with. Now, first of all, it's a confidential conversation between you and Don. Your agent at the end of the day does not need to know your credit history, what's going on with you. All they need to know is what you can afford. So say that you've been pre-approved for, $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, something like that. We would probably, if you are going to be in a competitive price range, we would probably start looking at the lower end, especially now with limited inventory, so that we would position you in a way that if the prices escalated and you had to escalate, you would be able to do it and still compete. So, again, and at the end of the day, do we want you to spend all your money? You don't have to. It's your choice at the end. We want to make sure that when you get in a house, you stay in the house. We don't want the house back. We want you to be successful with it. So are there any other questions? And I can let me put up again our contact information. It's there, and I'm going to do the drawing now. And so I'm going to have to trust that I am doing this as scientifically as possible. And let's see here. So the winner is Paula. So Paula, if you're familiar with how to do the chat, please just send me your individual message. Only I will be able to see it, or here's my information here. I just need your contact information so I can get you the authorization code for the $25 card. Congratulations, Paula. So, Paula, I just need your information some kind of way. And again, feel free, if you don't have it here, make sure that, here is my information. My office number, which also has a recording on it, is 703-525-0812. My cell is 703-801-8528. My email is nbagley@weichertrealtors.net. So do we have any other questions from anybody? I hope that you enjoyed today's session. And I don't know who's on the phone with us there, so I apologize. I didn't have a name to draw for you. Oops. But we're still happy that you were part of the event and that you were hopefully able to learn something from it. So with that, I think, yeah, Jorge, you want to finish up there? Oh, Lord.
Sure. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming here and enjoy a wonderful time with us. It's been wonderful, and enjoy your afternoon. And please tell your friends about these classes and come back again.
Thank you.
Thank you.